Welcome back to Welcome back to Every Disney Movie Ever. My name's Jess and I'm watching Every Disney Movie Ever. Today I'm going to be talking about A Wrinkle in Time. How I'm already at A Wrinkle in Time? Don't talk to me about it. I have no idea. A Wrinkle in Time is a 2018 theatrical release about Meg and Charles Wallace traveling the universe to find their dad. It is directed by Ava Duvernay, cinematography by Tobias A Schliessler, editing by Spencer Averick, music by Ramin Djawadi, and it's written by Jennifer Lee and Jeff Stockwell. It's based off a book of the same name by Madeline L'Engle that I've already done a book comparison for because they did a TV version back a little while ago. Go check it out. The film stars Storm Reid as Meg, Deric McCabe as Charles Wallace, Levi Miller as Calvin, Oprah Winfrey as Mrs. Witch, Reese Witherspoon as Mrs. Whatsit, Mindy Kaling as Mrs. Who, Chris Pine as Mr. Murray, and Gugu Mbatha-Raw as Mrs. Murray. In 2010, they got the rights after previously having the rights to make the 2003 television release. It originally had a $35 million budget, but then it became part of the whole California Film Commission tax credit program, which cut costs. So then Ava Duvernay then became the first African-American woman to direct a live-action film with a budget over $100 million. And then and then casting was done all throughout 2016. They started filming in 2016. They filmed all over LA and Lower California, also filmed in New Zealand, which is random. Had a $100 to $130 million budget, but only made $133.2 million in the box office. Has a 42% Rotten Tomatoes consensus. A Wrinkle in Time is visually gorgeous, big-hearted, and occasionally quite moving. Unfortunately, it is also wildly ambitious to a fault and often less than the sum of its classic parts. Okay, one of my biggest complaints about this movie actually has to do with the visual, and there are, like, an alarming amount of close-ups and extreme close-ups. I love a good close-up. When I take photos, I tend to focus from, like, here to here. You know, I just love faces. I love to see people. I love to see the actors emote. But for a movie about traveling through the universe, there are an awful lot of close-ups in this movie. It feels very suffocating, which, like, might have been the goal. That might have been the vibe. It might have been, like, even in a universe expanding, you could still feel suffocated and alone and, like, all that kind of stuff, which I could totally see as the vibe. And, like, it's beautiful. The shots of everyone are stunning, but I don't know. It just feels weird. So then when there is, like, a wide shot of what's going on, it feels, like, even more fake. And it's kind of, like, yikes, in my opinion. It's just distracting. Like, by the end of the movie, we're still so tight you can't breathe. And it's like, okay, what are we doing? I don't know how to have made it better. I don't know what I wanted to see instead. Maybe just not, like, here. Maybe a medium close-up. People love a medium close-up. What I'm in right now could be considered a medium close-up because you see this. And that's usually what a medium close-up is. So we got medium close-up, we got, like, close-up, and then we've got, like, extreme close-up, okay? And the movie, like, operates between these for, like, the majority of it. And that is, like, a lot. You, like, need wider shots to let the breathing room in. And, like, don't get me wrong, there are expanding shots when they're, like, in the universe, but even, like, when they're flying on Mrs. Whatsit and she's, like, that leafy dragon-looking character, there's only, like, a couple wide shots of them on that, and then it's, like, pretty close up that you can only see, like, the flapping of Mrs. Whatsit. I don't know. It's just, like, weird, I feel like. And if they were trying to do that as a story method, I guess I see the motivation for that, but I don't know, it just feels strange to me. But whatever. Also, everything is digital, which is fine. Everyone really loved the visuals of this, and I remember thinking, like, it was visually, like, impressive. But there was some that I was like, couldn't we have done practical, like, a little bit? It looks like they're standing on fake things. And that's, like, it's starting to take me out of the movie a little bit, if I'm being perfectly honest. Like, I feel like it at the end, what they were standing on could have been like real true set, and it could have been, but it looked pretty digital and fake, I won't lie. So I don't know, the lighting itself in the shots, gorgeous, absolutely stunning, and the visuals they pull off are beautiful, 100%. There was just some that I was like, couldn't this have been practical? Like, please. I miss the texture of practical sets. So this is where we get into, this movie simultaneously feels so rushed and lengthy at the same time. This movie is just shy of 2 hours. It's like an hour and 50 minutes, I think, which, like, fine. That's a great runtime, but they take breaths in places that feel weird. They spend a lot of time on something that feels weird. The biggest one for me is when Mrs. Whatsit changes into that, like, leafy creature that they ride. She's, like, spinning. Reese Witherspoon is spinning on the ground, like, for a long time. I'm like, why is it taking her so long? Why are we spending so much time on this? Also, why don't we show it? This movie is so visually crazy. Why don't we show her fully actually changing? Like, why didn't we digitize it? And then also, the reactions of them is just like a stagnant close-up. There's no... Maybe that's what my problem is. There's not a lot of movement in the camera. Oh. Maybe that... Oh my god, now I want to rewatch it. Maybe that's my problem. I don't mind close-ups, but there's no movement. It is a static close-up. Because, like, even when she's transforming, I feel like there's no movement. The camera doesn't move at all. It's like them being like, and then the camera isn't moving. Oh my god, maybe that's my problem. But anyway, the editing. It's kind of like they spend no time world building. Like, we just had this earth-shattering revelation that they can travel through the universe by frequencing into love. And, like, there's no time, like, explaining that, really. Or, you know, like, we learn what the Kamazats is, and the it. And that darkness is, like, taking over the universe. Whatever, cool. But, like, I don't know. It's handled so oddly. And so uncomfortably. And, like, Mrs. Whatsit is really being nasty about Meg. And Charles Wallace comes off in the beginning. Like, I remember it differently. I saw this in theaters. And I remember, like, really recognizing that Charles Wallace was a brilliant kid. But in, like, my watch through of this, I'm like, Charles Wallace is, like, just there. There's no real development for Charles Wallace. They set Meg up to be all of the development, which makes sense. I also realized while I was watching this, there was a part I was thinking about that I kept being like, okay, when are we going to get to that part? And I realized I was thinking of the 2003 television release. Which made me laugh, because I was like, when does this happen? Like, we're already at the part where this would be happening. When does it happen? I was thinking of the 2003 television release. It's fine. It's cool. So it's just, like, kind of all over the place, and they take breaths where I feel like they shouldn't have taken breaths. They don't spend any time in places that maybe they should have spent time. It's just kind of janky. It's still, like, a story. It's just not, like, smooth to me. The score was very interesting. That was really fun. There were a lot of songs with words, like modern day songs, that I did not remember happened in this movie. That was really interesting. And one of them is by Halle Bailey, which I thought was crazy because she goes on to be the Little Mermaid, obviously. So that was kind of fun. I thought that was kind of cool. But otherwise, like, they felt kind of weird and out of place this watch through, but I didn't even remember them from my first watch, so. So this is kind of all over the place. I've already mentioned that it's about, like, Meg and Charles Wallace traveling the universe to try and save their dad. So basically, Mr. Murray is a physicist, scientist, NASA person who is really interested in the universe and particles and basically traveling through the universe with your mind. is basically how he puts it, and he figures out the right frequency and goes without realizing, you know, the consequences, and the consequences are he ends up at the Kamazats where all of his light is taken, which you need your light to be able to channel love, to be able to tesser, which is the traveling, and so he gets stuck at the Kamazats for 4 years, and so he's missing for 4 years. He just up and went missing. And so Mrs. Murray, Meg, and Charles Wallace, who they had just freshly adopted, have now been 4 years without Mr. Murray. Meg is all shut in. She won't use her brains, you know, her brains and smarts. She's bullied at school, which means she acts out trying to fight back, and it's just like, you know, the classics. Lots of themes of love and hate, light and darkness, meek and confident, and just like all these themes, loving who you are while loving others and having grace and understanding that others might be having outside influence, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Lots of themes like that. And then Meg and Charles Wallace and Calvin end up, you know, going with the three misses to travel the universe to get to Mr. Murray. And so it's an interesting story, but it's told really sloppily. Does that make sense? Like, the beginning, you see, like, this whole setup with Mr. Murray, Mrs. Murray, they're gonna adopt Charles Wallace, and they're telling, like, Meg, like, our love for you is never gone, it just might be enfolded, like, if you can't see it, all this kind of stuff, and then they adopt Charles Wallace, and then Mr. Murray goes missing, and then it cuts to 4 years later, and you see, you know, Meg, whatever. You briefly see Calvin in a school scene when Meg hits Veronica with the soccer ball, and then all of a sudden, like, the Murrays get visited by Mrs. Whatsit, and Charles Wallace knows this person, and they're not, like, asking Charles Wallace, how did you meet her, anything like that. They're just like, why are you talking to strangers, don't do that, and he's like, she's really nice, blah blah blah, and, like, it's a really out of nowhere scene, and it doesn't feel, you know how there are movies where, like, this crazy unknown person shows up and starts telling you all this stuff? I feel like it's always a little bit more believable because it's been, I don't know, set up in some way. I just don't know how to explain it. And then all of a sudden Calvin is there, and he's like, I just felt like I had to come here, and they don't really weigh on that it's like the universe made him come, and he's not like a set up character already, so he just shows up. It's very awkward and out of nowhere, and then Charles Wallace just knowing these people, and Charles Wallace isn't, like, super flushed out, and it's really sloppy. So then when they do start traveling the universe, Meg is like, you know, why am I struggling? And they try to talk to her about it, but Mrs. Whatsit is just downright mean to Meg. It's brutal. It's like, how is she gonna get better if you keep doing that? And, like, I don't know. It's just, it's like trying to be deep, but there wasn't, like, a good enough foundation, but, like, there's not a bad foundation. I don't know how to explain what I'm feeling about this movie. I just know that it's not bad, but, like, it could have been so much better, and I wish it was, because it's such, like, it's got good bones. There's just, like, a missing of the mark somewhere. Like, you're supposed to be in such awe of the misses, what's it? And you're kind of like, who are these three frickin' ladies? Just, like, what's going on? Nothing is explained, which, like, I don't want it to be expository, but, like, things are explained, but not, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just, like, you're throwing, like, three universal beings at us, traveling the universe, evil entities, and I feel like there should be more explanation happening than there is. So, I don't know. It's a little bit messy. I also think one of my biggest story problems is Mr. Murray starts to try and test her to save Meg, and Meg is like, I can't believe you'd leave Charles Wallace again. Absolutely not. And so he tests her with Calvin because Meg fights so hard to stay and not test her with him. And then when she beats the It and saves Charles Wallace and they test her home and it's so beautiful and everything, they test her home and they see Dad and they have a whole thing, she's just like immediately okay with her dad. And I'm like, he just like left your brother to try and save you, which like, there's a lot of complicated things here, which I can understand, but like as Meg's character, I'd be, what the hell? You have some serious work to do to make me understand that and make me forgive you. From the adult side, I totally understand that Mr. Murray, one, is trying to save at least one kid. He can't lose both, and he's feeling at the end of his rope because he's been there for 4 years. Two, I think he disappeared like a day or two into having Charles Wallace, so he's got way more of a connection with Meg, his daughter that he had for, 5 or 6 years or whatever. And that's gross because, they adopted the kid, but like, I could maybe understand that on some deep level or whatever. So it's like, it's a really complicated scenario, but Meg just glosses over it. She's like, she accepts his like apology when he's like, I'm sorry, I wanted to shake hands with your nurse, but I should have been holding yours. Beautiful, whatever. But for her to just not be like, you left Charles Wallace, we need to work on this, is insane to me. Just drop that, because she even has a whole like sob, like, I can't believe you'd leave him again. Like, and then she just gets home and is like, accepts his apology. I don't know. That's insane to me. Don't frame it like that. Like, have her be like, no, we can save him, we can save him, we can save him. But no. They have that moment, and then they do nothing with it, which, interesting. Anyway, it's like, it's got great bones, but it doesn't like totally hit the mark. Storm Reid and Deric McCabe steal this movie. They're both so excellent. Storm, I will never forget seeing this in theaters, and Storm's reunion with her dad when she goes, Dad, was guttural. Like, I don't care if you weren't emotional in the moment. As soon as she does that, like, I burst into tears. I wept. Like, it was deep from, like, primal. It was primal. Her getting reunited with her dad, who she thought the worst, And she gets reunited with him, and he's like, oh my god, Meg. And, like, how Ava got that performance out of Storm, how Chris could stand there and let her do that without, hugging her before she even finished the word. I think he does hug her before she finishes the word. Is insane to me. What a performance. Like, it's the best performance of her in the movie is that take and scene. It is so real. Like, that's the realest moment in the movie, is her sob at being reunited with her dad. Oh my god. So good. Deric McCabe, absolutely incredible. He kills it as Charles Wallace, and as Charles Wallace possessed by the It. Absolutely amazing. What a great kid. Like, amazing. Absolutely amazing. I think the kids outshine the adults here, mostly because the stronger adult actors aren't in the movie as long. I feel Oprah Winfrey as Mrs. Witch was an insane choice. She's not an actress, like, I know some people might argue with me, but, like, she was very stiff, which I get Mrs. Witch was supposed to be very, like, serious, stoic, all-knowing being, but she was stiff. I feel like it could have been better from someone else. Reese Witherspoon, I feel like, Reese Witherspoon's an incredible actress, so I just feel like maybe she had weird direction. No offense to Ava. Ava can be a great director. I just think, like, it maybe wasn't the right choice. And it's Mindy Kaling. Like, I think this was a weird role for Mindy Kaling. Not to typecast her. She did fine, but she doesn't have a lot. Mrs. Sue doesn't really have to do much. And I get that they're supposed to be happy, loving, beautiful beings, but there was just, I don't know, something was weird about it. And they were all very, like, meh. So the kids absolutely were shining stars of this. My favorite part is probably Meg's dad at the reunion. Gets me every time, dude. I don't care if the movie is garbage around that. That scene is absolutely incredible. Least favorite part? I'm probably gonna go, now that I'm realizing, I feel like there's not a lot of camera movement, and that might be my least favorite part. That might be why I have so many problems with, like, the extreme close-ups and everything, because I feel like maybe there's not a lot of movement. I, like, kind of want to rewatch it. Like, I kind of want to rewatch it. I think that might be what it actually is. I feel like the extreme close-ups are rough, but I think it might also be because there's not movement, which is crazy. Recommend? Sure. Watch again? I don't think so. And then I would say, from what I'm remembering, I think the 2003 television release is better. I think it's really good, from what I remember. In my memory of fondness, the 2003 version was very good, and I would go check it out. That's everything I have for A Wrinkle in Time. My final rating is gonna be 7... 7... I got nothing. There's not really, like, an object in this movie. Oh, the little glasses. Okay. The 7 little kaleidoscope opera glasses out of 10. Our total movie count is... Parent death toll and cry count are still the same. If you want to keep up with what movie I'm watching when, follow me on all socials to find out what movie I'm watching when. I put out videos every Monday, Friday, and sometimes Wednesday. Join Patreon. I got a tier starting at just $1. You get every video a week early. Tiers above that, you get daily trivia, monthly postcards, bonus content, free merch. Your name in the description of every video. Go check it out. Buy merch. Merch is great. Merch is grand. Until next time, comment, like, subscribe. I'm not in charge of your life. You are, should you, and don't be the it about it. Dude, Celebration Month starts a week from today. Is anyone else hype as heck? You just wait for what I have for you this Celebration Month. You just wait. You just wait.